please. All right, great. So again, I've already thanked most of you all for joining. So thank you all for joining this mscrm-addons.com webinar. My name's Clint Higley, and today we're going to be talking about essential template tricks on how to build smart DocumentsCorePack templates. A couple of things to point out before we actually get into the topic today. There's the chat function there in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. You can use that at any time during the webinar to ask any questions. We've got some team members in there that will answer those questions for you, so don't hesitate to use that and ask those questions. Another thing is that we do actually record these webinars, so you will be provided at the end with a recording and a copy of these slides that I'm going to show today. And also, this time we're actually going to include the templates that I'm going to be showing today, so you can actually use those as a guide to kind of help you, if you've never kind of done anything like this before, you need some help, you need to look at some examples. We'll include these templates that you should be able to run in your CRM system, try to keep them simplified. So moving on, let's talk a little bit about what we're doing. Today we're looking at word field codes and why would you use them. So why would you use them? The main answer for that is, you want to create dynamic content. What we usually find with our users when they're using DocumentsCorePack is, they got a lot of templates in there. They have templates for pretty much anything. Like say, for example, they have a quote template and they have some specific language that they have to use for the state of Georgia, or the state of Florida, or the state of Texas, and they actually created 3 different templates for that. This usually leads to some confusion between your users, which template do I select, and it also leads to unhappy users, and that's a real bad thing. We kind of want to avoid that. So one reason to use these field codes is that what it allows you to do is it allows you to reduce the amount of templates in your CRM system. It allows you to combine those templates into actually one template, so you can combine these 3 templates actually using these field codes into one template, and based off data in CRM is actually going to put the correct information into these templates. Of course, naturally that leads us to happy users, and that's a real good thing. So what is a field code? So basically, here's a lovely definition for you from Microsoft. So Microsoft defines a field code as a placeholder for data that might change in a document, giving you precise control over dynamic text in your document. So let's talk a little bit about what that is. Let's see. I want to look at some important field codes, some good examples first. One of those would be, like, say, for example, an if condition. There's a little small thing right there. We'll go into this more in detail once we get to the demo. The next, you can actually use it to the switches and things like that to actually format strings. So if you want to output a date in a certain format, you can use these switches and your date will be outputted in that format. A couple other things that are really nice switches, like for example, you can use cardtext, which changes the numerical value of 3 to actually being spelled out to 3. Next would be like ordinals. This is kind of a request that we've had and a lot. If you're using documents like this, you say if you want the date to be the 1st of this month at this of this particular year, you can actually use this switch here to actually add that little ST or the 2nd ND or the 3rd RD or the 4th TH. So you can actually add those in there. So it's a pretty handy little thing. Some examples, when you would actually use these, like for example, salutations. If you want to do Dear Miss or Dear Mister. Shipping information based on a shipping method or say your freight terms. You want to add terms and conditions based on a county or state or a country or state. Like for example, let's say if a customer state returns Georgia. Let's say we want to add contact details from Georgia, the specific address or something. Insert state-specific content, such as terms and conditions for that specific state. And then maybe insert a picture or a table based on that information. We can do that all with field codes. So the demo today, basically we're going to cover field functions and how to use them. The first part is we're going to be showing you how to insert the fields and format them using switches. In the second part, we're going to show how to use if-else conditions, And then in the third section, we're going to actually extend that, the if-else conditions. We're going to show you how to do like a compare, starts with, ends with, and the last one is it contains sort of. It sort of contains. See what I mean once we get into the demo. The next one, part 4, is to use actually the field codes, when to use the field codes set and ref. These, for me, I think are two of the best field codes to use in certain situations, and it comes in real handy. Again, because we're providing you with these slides, I also want to provide you with some helpful links here. Number one would be the field code overview from Microsoft itself. List of field codes in Word. Again, it's a list of all the field codes that you can actually use. Again, that's from Microsoft. Conditions. Basically we're covering. This is from our blog about how to use conditions, and what it does is basically we're going to cover this, but it's a nice handy reference to kind of look back on from our blog. And then lastly is Graham Mayer's formatting word fields with switches. To me, this is an important document because it was the first one that kind of got me interested in this subject. It's just really great. It really got me kind of excited about doing this and how I could manipulate data in Word. So I think it's a really good read and shows a lot of examples, a lot of interesting things that you can actually do these in DocumentsCorePack as well. So I'm going to go ahead and flip over here to Word, to my template designer here. And first we're going to open up a template that I've already done. So let's go ahead and grab this first template here. Let's see, make sure I choose the contact and then my field code. So we have our first template. I'm going to blow this up just a little bit for you so you can see it better. We're going to talk about inserting field codes. The first thing is to insert a field code. The easiest way to do that is get your cursor to the position there and you use Control F9. That is what you need to do to kind of insert a field code. Again, there's a few other things that you can do with it. We'll show those here as well. The next hotkey that you're going to want to know is the Alt F9. Now, Alt F9 shows and hides field codes. If I hit Alt F9 back and forth, you can kind of see down here at the bottom too as well. My field codes are being shown and hidden. Now, this is actually a toggle. So if your field codes are on, and you bring up another Word document with field codes in it, you're going to see all your field codes. So if they're off, it's not going to show up when you open the document up. That's one thing that we have a lot of users. They're like, I inserted all these field codes and I opened up my document and they're all gone. Well, you just need to toggle using Alt F9. Two most important keys. Okay. So we're going to show an example of field codes using switches to dynamically change data. We're going to be working with the created on date of this. So my actual DocumentsCorePack field. Okay, so it's going to be same throughout. The first one we're going to talk about is the card text, and I've given myself a little thing here. Basically, what I want to do is show you how to actually do one of these fields. Basically, what we're going to show here is when we actually merge this document, is the record was created in, or I should have said on, was created on date, on the day of the day in card text equals this. This is where I'm going to actually insert my field here, show you how to do it. So I'm going to hit Control F9. Let me get rid of these lovely little highlights here. Okay. So Control F9, I'm inside my field. I'm going to start off here by adding the equal sign because I want to change that. So let me grab this insert mail merge fields here. Then I will grab my created on date and go ahead and actually insert that field. So I have my, I've inserted the field here, and then I want to do the switch, the card text switch. Basically, I'm pretty much able to just grab this here. I'll just copy this out for speed purposes. Someone probably could have typed it just as fast. But anyway, I get that right in here, and I want to go ahead and insert that right into my field. That's pretty much it. I've created that, so now one other thing that I have to do, I have to kind of manipulate this so I just get only the day. This will actually return the month/day/year, so I want to actually format this out. just so I get the day back. I only want the day in card text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click in there, get my bounding box around here, come up and use my field properties from my from the ribbon here. Field properties. I'll bring that over to show you. Again, here I have the ability to pick any kind of format I want, but I can see that the date is actually not in there. So I just want the standard day. So I just want to use this, the lowercase d. You can actually put in all your switches in here, and you actually get that stuff back. So here I just want the lowercase d, just so I get this back. So if I actually use the dd, dd, that actually returns 01. Don't want that, so I'll pull back just the date. So I'll go ahead and click OK here. All right, and that changes my field around. Anytime you see this here with the or O value after your field, that means you've used the field properties to actually manipulate this data coming from CRM. So it's always going to bring me back just the date. So this is going to actually give me back to the created on date. I believe it's the 6th. So it should actually come out and say here 6 once it's done. I get, here we go, for the created on value for the year, it's going to spell that out as well. The next switch I want to talk about that's really kind of important here is the ordinal switch. It basically displays the results as an ordinal Arabic numeral. This is going to give you your first, second, third, things of that nature. And it's really done the same way as it here above. I mean, I just create my field, give it the created on date, just isolate my my day here, and give it the /* ordinal. That's pretty much it. Here I'm just using standard fields again that I've manipulated. Again, this should be the month and the year. The next is ordinal text, /* ordinal text. It's actually going to display the results as an ordinal text. So instead of getting like one S, the first, so one ST, it's actually going to spell out first or second or third. It's actually going to spell it out for me. Really handy thing. Again, created the same way. Just put it in there, change it around, isolate my day, and give it that /* ord text tag. Also down here, got a couple of switches for fun. Don't know when you'd really use them, but you have here the /* hex. It turns all my values into hexadecimal hex numbers. And then /* Roman. So it creates all those numbers, turns them all into Roman character, so the Roman numbers there. So let's go ahead and merge this document. Let me just kind of zoom this out a little bit. Let's merge this document here in CRM, close this up, and I'm just going to minimize. It's going to be a lot of moving around with Windows here, so just please bear with me here. Just let me find that and grab my CRM system here. I'm going to pick a contact because that's what I created the template for. Go ahead and pick this particular contact, open it up, and let's merge this document real quick. So we're merging the server side here. If you use DocumentsCorePack before in the DocumentsCorePack dialog, you're familiar with this. So I'm going to go ahead and pick my template. And I'll just create this as a PDF. Real simple. All right, so my creation is in process is pulling everything down. Let's open up this PDF and have a look. And let me see if I can get it for you. I'm going to try to get it for you side by side. Let me pull up my Word document here and set this up so that you can actually see it and then display it a little better here. Okay, so you can see here is my template here on the left-hand side. I have my merged document on the right-hand side. Didn't save it. That was my mistake. But you can see here, since we're actually doing the card text here, this record was created in May. The date in card text, it should say 6. And the year in card text equals 2016. So it actually spells that out for you. Again, the ordinal numbers, what we're concerned with here, we're looking at here the 16th of May. Ordinal text, again, I had the 16th of May. And then I have my lovely things in hex down here and my Roman numerals. So pretty cool. Real easy way to kind of just manipulate data really easily. and get that displayed in the way that you want. So everything, actually, the data is coming back as 16, and then I can just manipulate it with these switches. Okay, so those are pretty simple examples there. I'm going to move on to our next one, our next set of examples. Let me just rearrange everything here. Get this out, and we'll open up my next template. This is actually going to be on the account. And grab this, and we're going to talk about if statements. So I'll just blow this up so you can see it. Let me get rid of this template because we're done with it. So I will save this. Okay, great. So if statements, basically, they're ways to kind of, to generate dynamic content. This is really where field codes really start to shine. All these are made up kind of in the same way. We start with our field here. Let me just start with our field code here, so Control F9. And then we start off with if. So then we have, it's broken down into 3 sections. We have what we call the conditional statement here. Then if the condition is true, we're going to do this. If the condition is false, we're going to do this. So here, to do the comparison, we're putting in a DCP field, followed by an operator, followed by a condition expression. If this is true, we will print this information out. If this is false, we will print this information out. Now this information here, this can be text, it can be a picture, it can be a table, it can actually be another if condition. So you can actually nest these if conditions inside of each other, and do some pretty complicated things. The different operators, so your operators here can be either equals. This actually means does not equal. Okay, so then you have greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Mainly the ones you're going to be concerned with is the equals and does not equal. That's the ones that you're going to use the most. So I have a statement here down here. This is one that I've done here. So just to kind of go through it with you, just to kind of show you like the differences here. This is just a standard one. I haven't merged this at all. So, but basically I've got if 1 equals 1. There's my condition. Then this wants to print this is true. Else it will print out this is false. So I will hit Alt F9. This should show me this is true. Oh, wait. Let me actually update my field. And then now, there we go. Yeah, this is true. Again, I can manipulate this. Go ahead and change this to say 2. So if 2 equals 1, which we know it doesn't, it should output this is false. So I need to update this field here real quick so it does all the logic. And there we go. So you have, this is false. All right. So that's the basic format here. Now, a couple other things that we can do with this, kind of change it around. We can do begins with or ends with. And this is some functionality that not a lot of people are familiar with, but it's really, really helpful. So you see it's the same expression as above here. The only thing that's different here is you see you've got your little asterisk here, or your wild card. Basically what this is going to do is it's going to take this DCP field and it's going to check to see if condition expression is what this DCP field begins with. Okay? It doesn't care about what comes after this. So this could be condition expression 1. This DCP field can return condition expression 1, condition expression 2, condition expression 3. Every time it's going to evaluate that, and that condition is always going to be true. Okay? So that's really helpful. So you can test whether it begins with condition expression. Again, you can do the same with ends with. You just stick your wildcard right out here in front. And that's going to do the same thing. We're looking for the end to see if the DCP field ends with condition expression. So it could be 1, 2, 3 condition expression, 4, 5, 6 condition expression. It's just going to evaluate the end there. So it's going to make sure that it ends with condition expression. So really super handy to evaluate those and kind of extend the if statement functionality. Now, you heard me before say contains, sort of. The thing is, this is logically, you would think that you can add the asterisk at the beginning and the asterisk at the end, and it would test to see if the whole field contained the words condition expression. Unfortunately, Word doesn't work like that. It's not that powerful, but what you can do is you can actually use the question mark to say, like, look, I want you to test to see, I want you to ignore the first 3 characters, and then it should have condition expression in it, and then I don't care what it ends with, so the wild card. All right, you can actually use question marks to actually they're kind of like placeholders. So this is actually going to test whether the field contains any 3 characters, it doesn't matter what they are, followed by condition expression. Okay. So you can, it kind of contains something. You have to kind of, you know, your formatting in CRM kind of needs to be standardized to kind of use something like this, because you have to know, you know, the placement of kind of what you're looking for. Something like that would be like, say, for example, a case number. I think sometimes in some CRM systems it's generated with a random 3 alphanumeric characters, followed by dash, then followed by CAS. So you can actually like test for that. You know, again, you can do the same to see whether the field ends with something. So with any 3 characters after condition expressions. So this can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to ignore all those here at the end, but it's going to check for condition expression. Again, here in the front, we don't care. Set the wild card here, whether that's true or false. So this is all. They're all set up pretty much the same. You know, you just have to remember, you know, character placeholders. You know, number of characters that you got. It can be as you want, followed by the wild card at the end, or wildcard in the front, and any number here. Okay. The next is the compare. Compare is super handy if you especially want to compare like a couple of DCP fields and make sure like they're like the same, you know, or different or what have you. It's set up the exact same way. The only thing is the way this conditional statement is set up. Okay. You see, we have the if in the front. And then if it's true or if it's false. So basically the way that we're setting this up here is we're using the equals and operator. You can also use equals or. So and then we encapsulate this, our 2 things that we want to compare. We can compare DCP field 1 with conditional expression 1, and then separate these by a comma, and then we'll compare, oh, I got an extra thing in here. We'll compare DCP field 2 with condition expression 2. So what this compare does is it actually takes this particular field, and it takes it and it checks it against this conditional expression. If this is true, it returns a 1. If it's false, it returns a 0. Same thing down here. So let's say here that I'm looking, you know, so if this equals this, then we'll return a 1. If this equals this, it will return a 1. This whole thing will equal a 1. So we're looking to equals 1. Okay, so I compare and compare. If they're both true, then this returns a 1. Let's say, for example, this DocumentsCorePack field, this first one returns a 0. If it's a 0, but this one returns a 1, it's actually then 0. So 0 does not equal 1. It would use default statement. So you can see in situations where that can be handy if you need to compare whether someone is in a certain state, along with if they bought a certain product. You know, you need to add, say, maybe some description about the product or something like that in there. That's definitely something that you can use. Just want to move on to our examples here, a couple examples so I can merge this document. Here I'm doing the salutations thing. So I'm looking here for Mr. or Mrs. Sorry, other way around, Mrs. or Mr. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm checking the primary context gender code. If it's male, I want it to be the dear Mr. and the primary contact last name. And if it's a female, I want it to be dear Mrs. Miss so-and-so, you know, primary contact last name. It's just a real simple example here. For begins with and ends with, actually here I'm just checking for if it begins or ends with. I'm doing another simple thing. This is actually a one-to-many relationship from the account to the quotes that they have out there. So I've got the quote name that I'm going to put in the table. I'm going to check to see if this is a sales product quote or a service product quote. So I'm looking at if the name of this begins with sales, then it'll put a yes in this column. If the name begins with services, it'll put a yes in this column. So it doesn't really matter what comes after this. I'm just looking for if it's a service quote or a sales quote, and then put yes. Here we're basically doing a contains, kind of the same similar setup here as the begins with, ends with. So we are going to do a case title here. We're doing our cases, the cases that are related to this account. So we have our case title here, and then we're looking for if it's a product issue or if it's return. So we've kind of standardized this in our demo system. And I've got here, I know that our cases always begins with the case number followed by a space. So I can actually tell this to ignore that. And then basically what we'll then do is check after those characters for the word issue. If the word issue is found, it's actually going to put in this checkbox. This is a standard checkbox here from Word. It'll put in there X, yeah, it's a product issue. If not, it's going to leave me with an empty box. So same thing here. If it's a return, it's going to give me yep, it's a return, or nope, it's not a return. So that's, you can actually, again, this is just an example of how you can just add different things in here. For the compare, we're going to be taking the contacts that are related to the account. We're going to be putting them in this table, giving them we're going to be putting the full name in here. And then we're going to check to see if we have their business and mobile phone numbers. Okay. So basically, what we're doing is we're doing our compare here. So we're comparing if the telephone number 1 does not equal, this means empty. Okay. So if you're always checking, so it contains data is another way to put it. So we're checking to see if telephone 1 does not contain data and the mobile phone does not contain data, then that should equal 1. So, So basically, if this is empty, it will return a 0. If it has data, it will return a 1. So if it does that, then our true statement here is that it's going to let us know that we have both numbers. And if I'm doing here a nested if here, so for my false, I want to check to see if we have the mobile phone number. So if the mobile phone number equals, contains no data, basically the true statement is I'm missing the mobile phone number, and the false statement is I'm missing the business phone number. I can do this because I'm only comparing two things, and basically if this has data, if this fails and this has data, then I know I'm missing the business phone number. So that's just a simple logic there. All right, so I want to go ahead and run this. Let me kind of set this up so I can set it up for you so you can actually see the examples. We'll do them side by side again. Minimize this out here and close this window. Let's cancel that. Go back to my dashboard and grab an account here. Let's grab mscrm-addons. Why not? So I'll go ahead and open that up. And then we're going to go ahead and merge this document here. So let's go ahead and create that document. All right, and we're going to decide every step. We're going to take our if statements doc, going to merge that as a PDF. All right, and it just takes a second just to open it up. Let's open up this PDF here and get these things side by side so you can see them. So again, here we go. Examples. The template's on the left. The merged document is on the right. You can see here that we've done this against the primary contact. The primary contact is Mark Watson. Mark Watson is a male. So we insert here, Dear Mr. Watson from here. Okay. You can see, so if it begins with, ends with, quote name here is service opportunity quote. Because this actually begins with service, we're putting a yes in the service quote. So it's yes for service quote. And then the other quote that we have out there is sales of bikes and components. This is actually, so we're testing to see if it begins with sales. We're seeing that it is, so we put a yes in this column, leave this one blank. So for our cases here, you can see again we started off here with the case number followed by space, and then we're looking, we find that it's issue, is it a product issue? We're putting the X in there, so we're checking the box, leaving this one blank. Again, another issue, it checks the condition. Again, this one is a return, so it checks that one. So you can see it just does this automatically for you when the document merges. The last is the compare. So we can look in for Point Higley. We know that we're missing the mobile number, based on this, and that for Mark Watson we actually have both the business and mobile phone number. Okay. These are just a couple of simple examples, just to kind of show you. Want to go into something a little bit more complicated here. So let me just rearrange everything here. Get this document. Oops, no. Oh. Get this back up and going, and we will go ahead and open up the last template that we're going to take a look at. So this one's also created on an account, and we have our account report. So this is a little bit more of sort of like a real world example here. I have kind of extended a couple of the ideas here on these tables. We'll kind of go over those as we go through it. We'll go through this like kind of piece by piece. And let me just kind of blow this up for you a little bit. And let me get rid of some of this other stuff here. So we're done with this. We won't save that. Perfectly fine. So here, a couple of little interesting things that I'm doing here right off the bat. You can see here, I'm checking to see, I'm inserting an actual picture. If this picture is, if we don't have the logo for this company, I'm actually inserting the image here. Okay. So just a really kind of it's a neat thing to kind of spice up your documents or your reports or anything like that, adding pictures and whatnot. The other thing that I want to talk about here, and this is just kind of like segues right into it, is I have here, you can see these set commands. So this is where set and reference comes into play. Okay. And basically what a set command is, it sets this, which in Word it's called a bookmark, to a value. Okay. So I'm setting this Q total to equal a numeric value of 0. Same thing with these three. You can also set these to be actual DocumentsCorePack fields as well. So in this situation, I'm setting this bookmark, or sort of like it's kind of like a variable, to the contents of the primary contact ID full name. Okay. So why am I doing this? Why am I setting these things here? Basically, what this allows me to do is if I set these in my template, later on in the document it allows me to reference them. That's where the ref command comes in. So for example, one thing that I'm doing down here, this is basically the same table as before. I've got the contact names and phone numbers, doing my compares, etc. Here, basically what I'm doing here is I want to reference this particular one. Now, why am I doing that? It's because this is actual. This is a one-to-many relationship. You can try to put fields in here from your standard lookups here, from your form, from your accounts, but they usually don't resolve. Okay, they won't resolve. So setting this primary contact with this primary contact full name, setting that allows me to actually reference this in the table. Okay, so that basically, so I'm doing this. So if I'm referencing this value here, so I'm pulling the contact full name equals the full name from the relationship from the account to contact. If they equal, then I want to put in there that it's actually the primary contact. So as I build this table out, it's actually going to have a list of my the contacts related to that account, and it's also going to identify which one is the primary contact. Okay, that's one way to use it. Another way to use it would be like, for example, here. So you see I've set these totals here to 0. Well, what I'm basically doing here is I am now doing another kind of a tricky command here. It's a little thing. So I'm setting, again, I'm actually referencing this back, and I'm adding 1 to it. So I'm kind of counting up. So as this table gets filled out, if I have 5 users or 5 contacts, that this setting this the CO total, that's actually going to be set to 5. You know what I'm saying? Once it's all said and done, because it's going to do this every time it kind of runs through this. It's going to see this and add 1 to it. So it's going to set that to 5. Now, why does that matter? So down here, actually in the bottom of the template, let me close this out here. The bottom of the template, I've set up a summary. And here you can see I'm wanting to reference back these totals. So I can say the account name has a total of X contacts. Okay. I'm also doing a little bit of formatting here, like I'm also referencing this again, that if it's 1 contact, I want to put in contact. If it's more than 1 contact, I'm putting in contacts. Okay, so I'm actually, you know, changing the document around and changing the content that I actually put in there. Again, doing the same here for the quotes and for the cases, so I can actually reference them again down here and put in the correct information from the totals there. The reason that I do this is because, you know, once we've kind of merged this all out, I mean, you can get it back, but it's just pretty simple to kind of do it this way. So if you can reference it later on in the document, that's the kind of the way that these things are good, what they're good for. Another thing that you can do is you can actually set certain amounts. You know, you can do addition with them. You can do, like, you know, so kind of like arithmetic functions, things like that. So this is actually super handy, and you'll really see it once we kind of look at these summaries once we merge this document. Again, just kind of extending out a few of the things that we did in the tables before. I've kind of done this here as this is kind of a catch-all. You know, what if someone forgot to name things by the naming conventions? I won't just put this as a standard quote. Same with the case title is here. So basically I can run this on anything. So I can run on anything in my CRM system. Another nice thing here is you can see here I'm doing some dynamic content. The description does not contain data, or if it contains data, if it's not blank, I want to put in here the account description followed by the description. Again, I'm doing something you know, like we talked about before with some basically if the state is Georgia, I need to put in these special terms here for Georgia. I need to put that in every document that I create for someone that actually lives in Georgia. I need to put this in there. And then lastly, the summary. I've kind of already gone over that. You'll definitely see this here in just a moment. We're kind of going to do 2 documents from 2 different accounts here real quick, and then show them side by side so you can see the differences here on what it does. So close this out, and let me just flip back here. We'll do mscrm-addons again, and then the other one is let's grab City and Power Light. Okay. So let me go over here. We'll go ahead and merge this document here for mscrm-addons first. And this real quick. So the account report for that. And we'll do that as a PDF. And this takes a second for this document to merge. We'll go ahead and open this one up and kind of move it out to here. Let's run this one for City and Power Light. So we'll create the document, and we'll do every step, and the account report for this one, and as a PDF. And here we go. We'll just go ahead and open that up as well. So now let's kind of get these side by side so we can see them and see what we got. See a couple differences here. So you can see here I'm dynamically adding in the different different logos. Again, I've got my tables here. One of the nice part is you can see here the differences here because the City Power and Light does not have any quotes. I'm actually hiding that table. That's actually DCP functionality where you can actually, if a table's empty, you can hide it. So you have just totally different dynamic documents here. I mean, I've got here the contact name, quote name, and the case title. Here I just have the contact name, the case titles that they have. Again, you can see the difference. I got my account description. mscrm-addons does not have an account description where City and Powerlight does, so I'm inputting that. Let's see here. mscrm-addons is in the state of Georgia, so I'm pulling in my special terms that that relate to Georgia. And then you can see here the summary. Okay, this is where it really all kind of comes together. So you can see here that mscrm-addons has a total of 2 contacts from a total of 50 employees. There are a total of 2 quotes with a value of the total value of the quotes. And then there are 3 active cases, lets me know. Then the summary here, City and Powerlight has a total of 1 contact from a total of 12,000 employees. There are no active quotes at this time. There are 2 active cases. Okay, so yeah, that's. I hope that gives you a little bit of insight onto how you can use these to create these dynamic documents. Again, you know, I can come back into here and grab any account. I can actually. Oh, let me see. I can actually run this against this account here. Let's see, account reports. And the file type will do PDF again. You can create that. And open this up. So you see I get a dynamically created document every time. Here, this one I don't have a logo for them, so I'm just grabbing the entity image from CRM. It's pulling out the different contact names. You can see here it's actually selecting who the primary contact is. It definitely lets me know that. And then I've got my description here. This one has one, followed by the summary where it has a total of 5 contacts with 6,100 employees. There's 1 quote with a value of 5,000, blah, blah, blah. And there's 1 active case. So you can see by using these field codes and everything like that, you can basically create one document that's going to output several, it outputs information based on the information that you have in CRM and basically reduces the amount of documents. So I do want to thank everybody for joining today. Looks like we did run about 40 minutes. So just want to thank you for joining. You can find us on the web at our website, www.mscrm-addons.com. If you need help with any of the products, there's a support page. Easiest way to get to that is if you go on our website, you click on support. There's several different options there that you can choose from. One of those is the blog. We've included a blog article in this one, but there's several different tips and tricks just like this on that blog. You can actually drill it down to what products you have. If you want to just look at part of DocumentsCorePack, you can do that as well. Contact information is below. Just going to kind of run through this real quick because I want to see if we got any. I want to take some questions real quick. So let me just do this